Hello everybody, good morning. It is Jewelry Talk today. Hi. I got on, I was so glad that I had a reminder. I had to make sure, hi you guys. Good morning, Susan Lennart here. I'm here with Jewelry Talk. So Jewelry Talk is everything to do with the other side of jewelry. I mean, of course, still the techniques and things. But hello, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Yay. Oh, my gosh, you guys. I'm here in my studio, and I'm getting ready for, I'm really preparing myself for Morocco. That's coming up. I'll be here next Thursday, too. Good morning. Good morning. How are you? Hi, you guys. You know what? I wanted to tell you guys. So this is Jewelry Talk, and it's about the cultural side of jewelry. Just what the symbolism, the talisman, it's the whole other side to it. It's about clearing yourself, building your own jewelry, having your own voice, having your own work. And it's all about, you know, like group love. It's about the good of the whole. We consider here, it's not competition. So it's really fun, and I'm really glad to be here today. And sometimes I need to go back in and center and remind myself what I'm here for and what type of jewelry I'm doing. And, you know, it's really about the inventiveness. I can tell you, good morning. Hi, Sherry. I've been thinking about you today. So when you're inventing your own work in jewelry, it is some of the most fun times that you're going to have. Creativity, you know, and I'm reading a lot about this, like in the whole spiritual world, in the whole practice of like getting healthier, you know, growing, of like, in yoga, I hear it a lot, you know, about creativity, clearing yourself to get to the place of creativity. That doesn't mean everybody has to be an artist. It means, you know, creativity. How do you think your way out of situations? You need your creativity. How do you get around in the world? How do you plan a trip? It's like Sherry, I thought about Sherry because her and I are both like, oh, we're going to Morocco. We, you know, thinking creatively, like, what do we need to bring? How can we enjoy ourselves? How can we have fun? If your creative mind comes into this, you can really use it for a good plan. You know, just the same as when you get up to your bench to build your jewelry. You know, it's so much fun when I get a great idea. And it's like, for me, I was able to start the film of On the Surface. Oh my gosh, so exciting. I really loved it. I love documenting it. I think it's going to be the first of a 3-part series, you know, of just really the basics and making all the things behind the scene. And we got finished with that, and my film guy tells me that, you know, he's going to probably try to do a quick turnaround. So these are some of the pieces from On the Surface that I did at the beginning of the week. Oh my gosh, Monday and Tuesday. It was really nice filming it over 2 days because I, you know, could relax more. Hi, Madeline. How are you? I could relax more, enjoy myself, you know, through the process, and just kind of take my time explaining things. It was really fun. When I did make the intentional metalsmithing, oh my gosh, it was like I really had to prepare myself for creativity, and everything had to be set up on trays because I did 7 films in 3 days plus interviews. You know, how do you stay fresh, right, guys? It's like there's ways to stay fresh. So for me, as I'm doing more of this real kind of precise work with granulation and beautiful gems and all of this, for me, I'm realizing that it's super important. Oh, this is part of it too, this shape here. But for me, it's really important for me to also get back into my raw self again. You know what I mean? On the Surface is, okay, so Emma, On the Surface is my new course, my new online course. It's just one course. It's the first one. And it really is a lot about granulation, filigree, hollow forms. But what I showed in there were these type of, you know, hollow forms also on creating different shapes. So intentional metalsmithing is kind of the beginning of all the different courses that I know are just different directions. You know, it's like if we take a look at metal, you could either break metal down into wire or sheet metal. So intentional metalsmithing covers everything using wire and sheet metal, you know, and then it just kind of goes off into different ways of how to design. So because I'm trained as an artist, moved into silversmithing, went through like repairing ethnographic jewelry and all of that type of, you know, unusual work, traveling, collecting talisman. My work first came as a collector, and I studied cultures. And then, hi, Studio Luna Verda. Oh my gosh, you guys have to check her out. Her stuff is pretty cool. She's going to be at my workshop in Mexico too. But she is all about raw wire. And you know what? How exciting, because I'm going to talk inspiring people about it today. But so she also, Ace has some work on the caging chapter. She does a lot of caging. So when I really searched, my intentional metalsmithing book is almost done, and Ace is in there on the caging. And I am going to have an interview with her at sometime soon on the language of jewelry. So, you know, that you guys will be able to see kind of her inspiration and her work too. So I have a bunch of different artists coming in. But today, how fun, because as I'm doing kind of this gem granulation, precision work, box work, like really hollowing it out on forms. You guys have seen my work getting cleaner and cleaner. I'm really itching to get back into, you know, of like really clean. I'm doing nice cuts and angles. I'm really wanting to explore this whole wire side of me again. And I brought a couple examples today. And I was kind of, you know, as I was cleaning up, oh my gosh, my desk is beautiful right now. You can hardly work here because I had to clean it up for this video that I did. You know, that's going to, on the surface, is coming out soon. But I actually wanted to dig up a couple of my wire pieces and remember where I was inspired from. And then I kind of want to just say a couple tips about it, if that makes sense to you guys. Love my rings. Thank you. Love rings and my gems and my bracelets. So yeah. Oh, you know what? Also, I wanted to tell you guys just real quick. This is one of my favorite necklaces, the nice long one. It's harder to walk in, but if I'm just standing around, like, you know, if I'm standing around working or just want to look good, I wear the long one, right? All different times and places for all of this. So, so anyway, okay, Friday, I'm opening up my shop again. There's some new components, and or actually it's still open, but Friday you can get in there. Things are going to be set. On Monday, we're shipping everything, and then I'm going to be closed for a couple weeks. Even though my shop will be open, I won't ship for a couple weeks just because I'm going to be in Morocco. Okay, so as far as examples, you guys, I had a couple people come over. Oh, you guys can't even see this. I had a couple people come over. I've got my drawer, my set of drawers here that I bought years ago from a garage sale. And I actually changed the handles on here. So don't forget, we can do things like that. I don't know if you guys can see this. It's still dark. I didn't polish it. But I had a couple people that came into my workshop a few days ago, you know, like when I have my workshop here. And they were so excited about, let's see if I can get this lighting on here. They were so excited about this wire work. So I just wanted to show you guys, you know, just to remind you guys on different areas. So I do this in jewelry, but it was really fun to do as handles and attachments. If you can see, it's dimensional. I have rivets set in here, it's pushed away, but there's just a lot of wire and fun and wraps. And another piece here I'll show you is this one, which is really fun. It's all done with wire again as a handle. So it's some of the same crazy work. I get to have it around in my studio. You know, I'm one that says I like to put my jewelry on the wall. I like to have collections here. I like to have things around that inspire me. And it's helping me out right now because I'm really about to go into kind of a real exploratory stage of wire after all of this nice, you know, which is just one part of it. And I want to also show you, so that's kind of, you know, I wanted, and then I want to talk a little bit about wire and things like that, but I want to show you guys this piece from my past. This is one of my very favorites. I've never sold this piece. When I go into different cultures, I like to absorb, like take a few weeks and absorb what I see. And this was from Day of the Dead in Mexico. And we had a group of us that went out there. On Halloween, we hunted cemeteries. We dressed up as, you know, we dressed up in the Katrinas as Katrina dolls. And it was so funny. We were so well received someone with us was like, is this culturally inappropriate to be dressed as a Katrina? And, you know, my research that I found is that the Katrinas are actually the Mexican people that were making fun of the skinny little French women that would walk around in Mexico with heels and, you know, big bustles and dresses in the hot weather. So it's like we were fitting right in. We were kind of making fun of ourselves in that situation. But this one here, it's like after going to these beautiful, authentic cemeteries and seeing the bands that were playing there and the mariachis and music, and they'd bring food, and it was so much fun. And it's like, for me, this is really what it seemed like to me, my interpretation. It's like, you know, I found some bleached out bone there, numbers on the cemetery, and all of that. So after my Day of the Dead, we went back and we built our own interpretation of maybe honoring one of our own ancestors, you know? So this was mine, and I love it. I love keeping this around because it is when I had ice resin. Thank you. And it is also, you know, just this crazy wire work on here. It's like to support this bone. Was just a hollow bone. To support this bone, I actually slid through a 10 gauge hammered out wire so I could, you know, just so I could be able to have, oh, this one would be so pretty on. And it's one of my lighter pieces. Go figure, right, guys? So this is beautiful. So, you know, in some ways we're going to Morocco and we're reinterpreting in our own, and then we're thinking of our own way to do things in Morocco. And so bringing in the culture, but really doing it about ourselves. We always have to remember to do that breathing, and when we get to our studio, to do our work about our own ancestors, our own culture, and ourselves, and just kind of bring in different ideas. It's creativity. It brings in some really nice ideas here. Oh, Tony's giving me a smiley face. Thank you, Tony. So, you know, when we're going to spend like 10 days scouring and looking at work and collecting work, and for me, it's like I have beautiful collection of pieces. Actually, here's two of my favorites. This one is actually one of my favorites, and I did, you know, this one is from East Africa with layers, and there's no stones on here. This kind of inspired me for On the Surface. How do you get beauty and complexity without putting stones on there? Isn't that interesting? As addicted I am to stones, and then I just wear stones around my pieces, you know? So anyway, that's kind of what we want to do. Aw, thank you guys for all that love. That makes me feel so good. I brought another piece. Now this top part here, the top part here is what I'm putting together for all these little charms that I have going to Morocco. I think we have access to leather. I'm going to bring some needles out there, Glover's needles, where we can, you know, do some stitching on leather. This type of stitching here that I just love, kind of raw, you know. I'm really always look to get back to my raw. When a piece is so balanced perfectly, you can stand to have a raw piece on there for the balance, you know. I find on Instagram, or, you know, pieces that I'm really interested in, I see a lot of pieces that many people are interested in, you know, it really is pieces that are exploratory and interesting and really putting your own voice into the pieces, if that makes sense. This was a piece from my past. It's actually, I've discovered this old, it was an old like garbage dump from the turn of the century, 1900 turn of the century. Now we have the to millennial turn of the century. This is from the 1900s, where, you know, people would put all their glass and metals and garbage into bags and they'd burn them. And, you know, what was left was like this melted down broken glass and your metal kind of put into interesting ways. But, you know, it reminded me of just these raw open edges. And I talked about, you know, so it's like, I want to show you guys some designs like this, because don't be afraid to get into your raw side. There's some artists out there that are really doing raw, beautiful pieces, and I can tell you they sell every time. Every time I do a raw piece, I always have it sell. So isn't that crazy? So I'm just reminding you guys of that. It's like, on my reading and my exploration, I love, you know, for me, I read all about jewelry and cultures. Like, I get so excited, you know, when I have time off, I love cuddling in a blanket or putting my fire on or sitting outside with a glass of wine, and I'll just read all about cultures, because on a lot of my jewelry talks, when I talk about jewelry, and I weave in the culture of symbolism and, you know, how everything holistically was built, you know, and that's on my YouTube station. If anyone wants to go in and kind of look at Aztec or Indian or just different talks like that I'll do very informally, fun, informally, you know, showing examples of what I have. That's kind of, you know, what my mojo and what I do. So this one, anyway, what I loved from this Indian statement is it's these gorgeous, built for kings and queens, you know, way back. Well, there's no kings and queens in India, but, you know, the Europeans came in and collected some of this jewelry, especially England. And, you know, some of the pieces I'm always surprised to find when you go way back, a lot of this very valuable pieces. In India, there were these hammered out, super thin, 24 gauge gold, hammered out to like a 32 gauge. You know, if you think of how thin that is, just hammered and pounded and wrapped like this around pieces. You know, you can see like in pieces and parts, but wrapped so beautifully, hugging a gem, a diamond, a emerald, you know, hugging valuable stones. There was nothing wrong with that. There was no soldering done. So I just think that that to me is fascinating when I can find examples of just people building things out of the box, out of the ordinary. It's so exciting for me, and that's always what I'm looking for. I love, you know, when I get onto, so we have now, you know, I hope you guys hopped onto the language of jewelry. I'm going to be doing something tomorrow, I think, from language of jewelry, and, you know, we'll post a couple things from there. But if you see, you know, I decided, this one was actually on here, just this skinny little piece. It was something I decided to do years ago, you know, just kind of a voice of a little scraggly, almost like hair hanging there, if you guys can see it. This morning, I just added this other piece to have a companion with here. So I go through minimalistic stages, and I find that really my pieces don't really sell that much, you know, in a minimalistic, but it's kind of funny. But I'm going to adjust this because I do want to show you guys a couple things from here. So, so that's kind of the raws that I want to show you guys examples of, in case this inspires you. You know, if you're beginning, welcome, welcome, the new intentional metalsmithing people. And I hope you're up here today. I've been on the site, and it's really fun. We had some new people join, and to do the whole course. It's really fun to do the whole course. I see a lot of people from my first group kind of, I mean, all spring, my first and second group, springing into their own directions, or maybe just, you know, also studying other jewelry programs to add to what they know. And it's really nice to get a collection, to have this as your backbone, right, guys? I know a lot of people were in it. So, oh, nice to see you guys here. So I guess what I wanted to talk about today is wire. So I am talking about wire as I pull up my pieces. And I wanted to show you guys this nice little example here that's on some of my work. This is a hammered out, a hammered 14 gauge. Wait, 14, no. There's a hammered, either a 12 or a 10 gauge. And you could really see, you know, how it's brought in and around. This is in the wire chapter. But, you know, for me, it's like I'm going to be going back into that wire chapter and really reinventing. This really also could be a drawer pull if I made it bigger, like my drawer pulls that I have back there, you know. So that's kind of cool. So I know what I wanted to tell you guys then about wire. A couple things. You know, when you are building with your wire for these two pieces here, you know, I'm actually using a lot of different gauges. So when I'm connecting, which is, you know, I think people, I was studied as an artist, so I study more of, oh, thank you. I know, it's just some that pieces, you know, as I was cleaning, I just kind of up and gathered mine, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so dying to get back into this hammered out wire again. So you guys are gonna see more things like that. You get cleaner, and then you have to go backwards a little, you know? So for me, anyway, I feel like, so if you see, I'm using, you know, when I teach a workshop, I always put down a lot of different gauges of wire. And to me, it doesn't matter what gauge that you use. They're all expressing something different. I used a light gauge here because I wanted to express fragility of life. This is a Day of the Dead piece, you know, so it's like your fragility of life and just, you know, bones in here. And so I'm really using my material to express what I'm saying to my viewer. I'm using balance. I'm using, you know, when someone looks at your piece, you want them to be able to, me as the builder, I want to be able to take my viewer's eye and bring them around and lead them to where I want it to go. I don't want one little dot missed. Every single little dot or bend or ball on a piece is important, and you will see it on the way down if you lead your viewer's eye the right directions. Let me see, I think I have somebody also saying something to me. Okay, I have been exploring different techniques, Cheryl. Yeah, and mostly, connected in my soul with what thank you so much. I love that. Connect your soul, you guys. A happy person is not a threat to anybody in the world. A happy person. I'm here really teaching, opening up your soul, opening up your heart. I've been doing in yoga, I actually am doing this new yoga practice that's so fascinating to me, that you guys may have heard of. You know, I was doing this yoga that kind of, you know, I was like detoxing a lot from this hot yoga. And then I started with this Aerovedic Yoga, which is this breath of fire, which completely, if you're walking around with something in your subconscious, you're gonna find you come in and you build that, you know. But what this breath of fire, this Aerovedic Yoga does is it's this breath that I'll probably show a little bit in Morocco, but we don't want people, you know, to get too, like, I want everyone to be comfortable once we get to the studio, you know. But it's this breath of fire, and it brings out your subconscious, whether you like it or not. Breath work. I had just heard some recent studies with mental health, you know, which I'm always studying. Oh my gosh. Mental health is that you're actually, it's this breathing, inhales and exhales, and breath work that can help heal you, you know. And it was an interesting statement. I know I gave the name of this book last time. I think it's on my Amazon book list, but it is an author who made the statement, which, how crazy is this? He made the statement that, you know, people, we're used to healing our body, but we really haven't addressed that we can heal our mind in the same way, you know. This way of finding yourself, of getting at your true work, is one way really to heal your mind. Because if you can do your authentic work and be your authentic self, you're going to find like attracts like, but you're getting clearer and you're getting to yourself, and your life will be fulfilling and creative because you are, you know, being yourself, nobody else. You know, even though you guys come into my course, Intentional Metalsmithing, and I'm teaching you exact projects and some exacts, you're learning these, and I've seen from the first and second group, people are finding themselves and doing their own work. Intentional Metalsmithing and Jewelry Talk is really a practice in showing up and doing whatever in the hell you want to do, right, guys? I'm here. I just like guarantee people, I talk a lot about myself, but thank you for the hearts. But, you know, I talk about from the very beginning, because I'm trained as an artist. Believe me, when I first put my jewelry out there, I was building jewelry like in my place with pencils and, you know, cigarette butts and $100 bills on my jewelry and pieces like this with wire, a poker game, all cards that, you know, was crazy, hectic, you know, wire work because I wanted to feel chaotic, you know, and I'm building pieces. I never expected these pieces to be attractive to the jewelry industry, you know? And it's so funny to me because I do have my own practice in building my jewelry, and it really is a nomadic way, because when we're going to Morocco, a lot of people coming to my workshop, and when I have my workshop in Cleveland, we're comfortable with this. You don't have to sit in my class and relearn everything, you know, and we don't have to struggle through how to solder something. We can move on to something new because we kind of are familiar with the tools and everything. So the first thing I did with Morocco was like, these are the tools we're using. Here's the alchemy of soldering, you know, come on out. And it makes it so much more fun in my workshops because people come in with this knowledge. Oh, I love it. So, you know, it's like, for me, I've done New York Runway. I do Milan Jewelry Week with Vogue Accessories in Milan. I've done museum exhibits. I've done all my pencils and my poker games at the Renwick, at the New York Art Institute, at, you know, so it's like, I want to be living proof to you guys that if you get into your real core and express yourself, your work is more valuable than if you're copying someone saying, oh my gosh, they sell their work. Oh my gosh, I need to sell my work, you know? Like, trust yourself. It's a thing of trusting yourself. So I'm really loving, it's a Jai, his name is Jai Day. I'm really loving this, loving and hating this Aerovedic Yoga. That's like, you know, this breath of fire. So look that up if anyone is interested. It takes your subconscious out. When you show up in front of your work, you're building what is inside your subconscious. It's something that you're kind of hiding from yourself. But if you can get that out, then the real me can show up and do this work. So, you know, with this wire work, I guess one thing that I want to say, you know, is that you can choose. I don't just stick to one. That one I built with fragility. You know, this one I want to be really sturdy. Look how sturdy. It gives you a sense. With this bold, transparent glass piece that everything it lays on, you'll see with this bold piece, you know, I'm really, I needed that to balance off my glass piece. It would have looked ridiculous if this piece wasn't here. I need the top of this piece to be nice and bold. This one really needs bold. But when I got down to the bottom, then I can speak my fragility, or, you know, if you see, I wanted to say usually with necklaces, I use an 18 gauge. And then I brought in a 16 gauge square for the top. So if I want a wire supported by itself, I usually use square, which is super sturdy, and a 16 gauge. And then here's a lot of wraps done with my 18 gauge to hang my components and things. So I think that's what I wanted to say about the wire. I was going to do a little demo, but maybe I'll do a demo and just kind of pop that onto the language of jewelry. Does that make sense? I've got a couple things coming on with that. Put that long necklace in a box. Which one? This one you're talking about? Oh my gosh, you are so cute, Barbara. Listen, I love you guys. Thank you so much for your, you know, thank you guys so much. Really, I really appreciate all the support. I have new components on there. When I'm in Morocco, I'm going to be buying some really cool things. I have more gorgeous gems coming in soon. So I promise you guys, when I get back, I love you. Oh my gosh, you guys, you just made my day, Barbara. I hope you guys know how much when I see messages or open up the language of jewelry or open up my Instagram, I'm just so grateful. It's like sometimes you know, you live in a box during COVID. You live in a box, and you know, it warms me just that I was talking and I saw so many hearts come up. So thank you guys so much. So Monday will be the last day. Monday we're shipping. So Monday will be the last day for ordering anything. And then we're kind of closing down shop, and I'm going to be in Morocco. So I'll be doing a lot of live film from there, and I'm doing film, and I know there's people, I'm doing a workshop in March there too. So we'll tell you guys how we survive. I want to do an interview with Michelle, who is the organizer. She's from Canada. She packed up her life and moved to Morocco. Is that crazy? So I'm working out of her studio, which I'm super excited about. So is there anything else I wanted to say? Well, I don't think so, but can IM students take the, yes, you can absolutely, it's a new one. So yes, IM students can move on and take On the Surface. Even if you guys take Alchemy of Soldering, I built this course to stand on its own, and you know, with a whole other, oh, Christina, I didn't even see you on there. That's Christina, you guys. So Christina will be sending you out some emails when this is ready. It's going to be kind of a nice, it'll be this year. So, and I'm thinking it's a first part series because I really want to get into just using twisted wire and negative space and a lot more than I'm studying. So it's not included in IM, it'll be extra, but it's gonna be another, you know, I'll sell them one at a time series, but it'll be really fun, brand new, and you know, all of this type of work here. So, all right, you guys, thank you guys so much for showing up. Oh, I will, oh my gosh, I definitely will take some video in Morocco and film, and we'll get our classroom, and I'm gonna do a live interview, except if time is odd, you know what I mean? Thank you guys so much for showing up, really. I'm gonna be thinking about you guys. Sherry, thinking about you. We have 9 people going to Morocco this trip, which is a small one, so it's gonna be real intimate. We're gonna be like, what? You know, we're gonna know each other well. Thank you, I'll be here next Thursday though. So I'm gonna be here next Thursday, and then the next day I fly out. So I'm real excited. All right, you guys. Nice to see you guys, and I'll see you next Thursday.